evening and welcome to a special edition of the very best bits from this series of Would I Lie to You? Joining David Mitchell tonight are Richard Osman, Claudia Winkleman, Samantha Morton, AJ Odudu, Miles Jupp, Laura Whitmore, Lou Sanders, Chris McCausland, Sarah Barron and Raj Bisram. And joining Lee Mack tonight, Bob Mortimer, Sarah Pascoe, Les Dennis, Mr Motivator, Stephen Hendry, Cindy V, the Reverend Kate Botley and Alex Horn. Stephen, you are first up.
Before every World Championship final, I used to give a motivational team talk to my snooker cue, or as I called him, Sir Potts-a-Lot.
David's team.
I hope that's true. I just hope it's true.
Could you give us a flavour of the motivational talk you'd give Sir Potts-a-Lot?
I used to put him in the sort of the corner of the dressing room.
Yeah. Stephen, I don't want to interrupt your flow, but if you are going to...
Oh, God, he's not looking for drugs again, is he?
This, and it's not just any cue, this is a cue signed by one of the greatest snooker players of all time, Ronnie O'Sullivan. Now, why don't you recreate the motivational talk?
You're in the dressing room, ready to go out, you've done your practice, and it's just, come on, it's me and you today. You and I, get to the table, we're just going to pot every ball, we're going to clear up and win the frame. Come on, Sir Potts-a-Lot.
I feel motivated.
Stephen, I'm buying into this. But if you were playing and it wasn't going that well and you came in for the break, would you give it a stern talking to?
I would sometimes come in and say, what are you doing? You know, because it's not, because obviously it's nothing to do with me.
When did you first acquire Sir Potts-a-Lot?
14.
You were 14 years old?
Yep, and it got actually broken later on in my career. I come back from Thailand.
Yes.
We couldn't take the cues on board after 9/11.
Yes.
So we had to put them in the luggage.
That's the problem with 9/11. The queues got a lot worse, didn't they?
Very good.
I do believe it's true because I think it's the kind of thing that successful sportsmen do. They have these little quirks and it's what makes them amazing. And Stephen was amazing.
Thank you.
Now, Laura.
Yes.
What do you think?
I think it's true because when you speak about Sir Potts-a-Lot, your eyes light up and you're so enthusiastic and excited. So for that alone, I just feel like no one else could get that excited about a stick. So I think it's true because of that. Well...
I must admit, I'm pretty lost without my stick. I'll give it a talking to now. We need to get to the bank today. Are you feeling up to your game?
Have you given your stick a name, though?
Sir Finds-a-Lot.
David, what about you?
When did you name your cue Sir Potts-a-Lot?
It was a name, actually, my granny gave it to, so...
I have to say, if this is a lie, I'm going to totally re-evaluate you as a human being. I can believe that firstly, in high-pressure sporting situations, there's going to be a certain amount of superstition. You want to do the same thing again and again and again. That's why I never wear trousers for this show. In a way, there's a clash, isn't there, between the triviality of Sir Potts-a-Lot and the seriousness of the pep talk, and yet the story about the grandmother giving the name. Oh, yes, that makes sense of it, doesn't it? Yes. Of course. There would be something lovable in that very triviality because of the family link. So it's either true or it is a diabolical lie.
David's been under a lot of pressure recently.
I'm going to take a risk on true. If only one more time, I'm going to believe.
You're going to dare to dream.
Yeah.
All right. Stephen Hendry, were you telling us the truth about Sir Potts-a-Lot or were you telling us a lie?
It was a diabolical lie.
OK, AJ, you're next.
OK. I once had to interview Lady Gaga using an American accent because her manager told me there was no way she'd be able to understand my northern voice.
Can you repeat that? I didn't understand a word of it. So, your accent, you are from?
Blackburn, Lancashire.
Which?
An exotic place.
I grew up in Blackburn.
Did you now?
Hey, maybe we were in the same year at school.
Unlikely. What school did you go to?
I went to a school that was confusingly called Everton High School, which
Not
is
down.
in Blackburn.
It's been abolished, though, hasn't it?
It's been demolished.
Demolished.
Well, it has. Not been abolished. It's been demolished, and as is my dad's house, and as the house we lived in before that.
Oh, my
Because
word.
it's every comedian's dream to have a blue plaque outside a house, but they're just wiping all history of me.
Oh, my God. The hospital that I was born in has been knocked down as well, and now it's a block of flats across from what used to be where we used to go shopping, Quick Save. That's been knocked down too.
My mum used to work at Quick Save.
No
I hope she
way.
got out before they knocked it down. I haven't seen it for a while.
They've even knocked down the brewery.
Have they?
Oh, my
OK,
gosh.
I'm going to
So-
step in at this point
my
and just see if we can open the show out to people who didn't grow up in Blackburn. So, you were interviewing Lady Gaga.
Lady
Why were you... Shut up. Why were you interviewing Lady?
I was presenting a music TV show.
Of course.
And, yeah, she was promoting one of her brand new singles.
How far did you get into the interview before Lady Gaga said, I haven't understood a single word this lady has said to me?
I was chatting away, asking her loads of questions, really liked her outfit.
Just want a figure, just a number. Just
OK.
just minutes.
I don't know, like 2 minutes?
And when you did The American, did she do Blackburn from then on as well?
Lady Gaga.
All right. What are you thinking?
Well, I think it's true because...
Why?
Well, because it's very plausible that AJ has interviewed Lady Gaga, and it's also plausible that Lady Gaga just doesn't understand more than one kind of accent.
Well, here's the thing. Can you understand what she's saying?
Yes, because I'm bright.
Right. Are you struggling to understand her Lancashire accent?
No. This is where I'm worried that it might not be true, because I think every
Very
word...
clear, isn't it?
It is pretty
And
clear.
the other thing about Americans is, I find, as someone from the north myself, that they think we're all posh. They just think everyone with an English accent is posh, so we all sound the same to them.
Mate, they do not think you're posh. Let me tell you that right now.
What are you going to say on behalf of your team?
Right.
think
Well,
true.
I don't know.
I'm saying true.
True.
OK, we're going to go true, but I can't understand why Lady Gaga can't understand her accent.
All right, but you're saying true. OK. AJ, were you telling us the truth or were you telling us a lie?
I was telling you a lie!
Bob, you're next.
I once helped Damon Hill to Grand Prix success by presenting him with a pre-race snack.
David's team.
Well, it certainly tripped off the tongue.
Thank you.
What was the snack?
A Scotch egg.
And is there a definite correlation between him eating that Scotch egg and him being successful?
He felt that the Scotch egg had helped him succeed in the race. He told me so.
Is Damon Hill a close friend, Bob?
No, no.
Then why were you giving him foodstuff?
Well, I'd been invited to the Grand Prix,
Which Grand Prix?
the British.
In which year?
Think.
1996, David, but I'm not willing to exclude 4 years either side of that. Put it this way, it was definitely one of the decades.
Do you like racing, then?
No, I'm not a Formula One fan.
Right.
I probably prefer soil science.
OK. Who was he driving for?
He was driving for a company that had very fast company cars.
So, why were you permitted access to a major racing driver?
Because his manager, Shane Tobacco... I can't remember his name.
Can't remember his name.
Shane, or whoever it was also with another bloke, you know, benefiting from hospitality.
What was his name?
Let's say Top Heavy Ken.
Right.
But remember we went upstairs on the bus. Damon was there. He had a bed in there.
Like a sort of Winnebago.
Yeah. And it had, you know, mugs with I love cars, I love handbrakes, I love headrests.
And this is the day of the race.
David, this is just like an hour and a half before the race.
An hour and a half before the race. You've turned up an hour and a half early, because even though you're more into soil science, you want to soak up the atmosphere with a good hour and a half of waiting before the televised traffic begins.
Yes.
So you turn up. The last thing Damon needs before a race is any quiet time. He just wants a bit of hubbub on his bus. Were there any other people there apart from you and Shane and Damon?
I was with my wife as well, yeah.
OK.
And...
Top-heavy Ken.
So me and the wife went up. I think when you go to someone's home or their Winnebago or whatever, you should... Do you know, like, if you're going to a dinner party at someone's house, you'll always take them a bottle of vinegar, yeah?
So your gift to thank him for the hospitality was a Scotch egg?
No. I call it pocket meat. Whenever I'm away from the house, I have pocket meat.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I have, like, a chicken leg or pork pie. And I thought, I've got some pocket meat. It was a Scotch egg in its cellophane. And I said, Damon, we all know that if you pop a sausage roll in an American's pocket, it brings him good luck. I said, maybe a Scotch egg would work for a British fella like you. And I gave it to him.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, very much.
What, that if you put meat in an American's pocket...
Processed meat.
Have you ever heard of that?
Not really, no.
No.
It's all been a bit of a lot of talking. I've quite forgotten the original bit of the story. Did he eat said Scotch egg before the race?
I'll never know, Samantha, but after the race, he said that he took the Scotch egg round with him. He swore he did.
In the car?
I don't know whether he put it in the glove box on the passenger seat. Whether he ate it.
But, Rob, you're not claiming that he ate the egg.
All I would say is that when I was watching, when Damon went past, in his tailwind, a person next to me said, Damon's tailwind smelt really meggy, which of course is meat and egg. Meat and egg.
So, what are we thinking, Sam?
Do you know what? Sometimes stories are so mad that they've got to be true.
What I would say here is be wary when it comes to Bob.
Oh, OK.
Do you remember, David, that I think it was the last time Bob was with us? He told us Chris Rea told him to put an egg into his bath.
I can't even remember. Was that true?
No.
But you believed it was true?
Yes.
Miles, what are you thinking?
Well, I think that you're sort of somewhat cynically using this as an opportunity to tout your kind of charms. And you're hoping to kind of drum up work, and then your agent's going to get lots of phone calls saying, oh, would Bob Mortimer be able to sort of slip Gareth Bale a pasty and stuff like this? I think it's a lie.
You think it's a lie? But you think it's true?
I'm on the fence.
Oh, dear.
This is a horrible situation. I don't know. My instinct is it's a lie.
You're saying lie? OK, Bob Mortimer. A lucky Scotch egg for Damon Hill at the British Grand Prix. Truth or lie?
I was telling the truth.
He's done it again. It is an impossible situation. One egg thing's true, the other egg thing... How can I have disbelieved the wrong egg thing?
Right, Mr. Motivator, you're next.
Every day, I do one press-up for each year I've been alive.
OK.
Wow.
David's team.
How many years have you been alive?
That's what he says at speed dating. How long have you been alive?
I'll tell you what, before you say...
It won't be for much longer.
Before you say, Mr. Motivator, let's just see how old we think.
It's hard to tell because he has the face of a 50-year-old and the clothes of a 14-year-old.
What are you going to say?
I'm going to add them together. No, I'm going to say late 50s, 58.
OK, Mr. Motivator?
67, 68
Wow.
next month.
Mr. Motivator, obviously doing 67 would be inhumane. Maybe do one or two, just so we can witness the technique.
Well, I mean, if some of you guys would do it with me...
I'm just going to say at this point, there are no circumstances under which I will do a press-up.
David, what if it was a different exercise? Would you do, like, a jumping jack or a burpee?
What's a burpee?
It's where Victoria puts you over her shoulder and pats your back.
I'm happy to do one with you, Moat.
OK. Now, remember, I have a shoulder which has been in...
You've got a shoulder problem?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
But I'll do a few.
Yeah, OK. I'll go here. So I've got to do what you're doing now, OK?
Yeah, you've got to do one.
That's not a press-up.
We are warming up, you idiot. You know nothing about the body.
Let's do it on the edge.
On the edge?
Like these, all right? Here we go. Let's go. Go. Push it. Come on, guy.
I'm doing it.
Come on, man. Very good. Keep going. Keep going red. And then you can
I
take it
thought
off.
we weren't going to do 67.
And then wide. And then wide.
I'm out.
I think it's fair to say, Rob, that you surpassed everybody's expectations.
I'll be fine in a minute. It was like something out of Rocky, wasn't it?
It was impressive, that.
It was great.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
So, Dan, what do you think? Truth or lie?
I was tempted to say lie. Then I saw the ease with which he did that, and I'm thinking true.
What do you think?
I'm leaning towards a lie.
You-
I'll let you have the deciding vote.
I've got the deciding vote anyway. I'm going to go true.
They're saying it's true. Mr. Motivator, was it true?
True.
Kate, you're next.
Can I just say before you start, this whole thou shalt not lie, let that go for a couple of hours.
One Sunday, I embarrassed myself in front of the entire congregation after too many cups of communion wine.
David's team.
So, cups of communion wine. Had you over-catered and you had to finish it up?
Yeah, basically that's what happens. So the rule is that if you bless the wine, it then has to be reverently consumed, is the phrase. So you have to finish it. I guess where it comes from is that, you know, once it's blessed, it sort of changes, if you like. It's not just normal wine anymore.
Well, as usual, the issue of transubstantiation has come up on the show. So, obviously, if it's the blood of Christ, you can't just pour that down the sink. You've got to drink it. Because Christ wants all of his blood finished up.
Yeah. So I had, like lots of vicars, I look after lots of churches, and so I had lots of services that day.
Well, that must be very difficult.
Yeah, well, there's lots of dashing about.
You say it's difficult. It's only one day a week, isn't it? I mean, the hours are good, aren't they?
You can fall out with people, you know.
Not if you're full of forgiveness.
So how many have you got under you?
Well, at that point, I had 3 churches that I looked after, and so I had an 8 o'clock service, a 9:30 service, and an 11 o'clock service. I finished the 8 o'clock wine, and then I finished the wine at the 9:30 service, and I'd not had any breakfast that morning.
Oh.
So at 11 o'clock, I'd given all the wine out,
Yeah.
like you do.
Given some of the wine out,
Given some,
polished off the rest
I'd
of it.
misjudged how many people might come up for the wine.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
they're probably scared of the drunken woman, aren't they?
I finished the wine, and I looked down at the cup at the same time, and there's a little floater of bread that someone had spat back into.
Oh, no.
And that sort of made me feel a bit queasy. And so I excused myself at that point, and I went to the church loo.
Oh.
And so I was unwell.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
OK.
Into the loo.
But you didn't embarrass yourself. You go off, you come back. Divine.
Oh, yes? Where is the embarrassment?
In the eyes of God.
I got to the loo, and I had my microphone still turned on. And that went out on the church PA system.
The acoustics in some of those medieval buildings, the sound of vomiting would echo down from all the angels, the stained glass. It would be like God himself was vomiting.
I'm wondering if, like, afterwards, did any of your congregation have a nickname for you or make fun of you, like, in subsequent weeks?
They thought I was pregnant.
And did you use that as an excuse to make you look better?
Well, I wouldn't say I used it, but I didn't carry tables for a few days and move chairs.
Sarah, what are you thinking?
My instinct is telling me that it's a lie, because I think she's more in control than that. I think it's a lie.
You think it's a lie?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's impossible to know. All right. We're going to go lie.
All right, you're saying lie.
Might be true. We accept that it might be true. So we're going to go lie.
So, Kate, was it true or was it a lie?
It was true.
Yeah! Well done, Kate.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Sam, you're next. Out loud.
Oh, sorry. When Tom Cruise came to England, I took him to Argos because he wanted to buy an extension lead.
Of course, Samantha starred with Sir Thomas in Minority Report. Excellent film. Lee's team.
So, why was he coming to London first?
It was the premiere.
Of Minority Report?
Yeah, we've taken over this floor of the Dorchester for the premiere. And he's got one end with his entourage, and I've got the other end with my child and someone helping me. And his assistant came over and said they needed an extension lead.
You don't know what the lead is for, particularly?
Well, I eventually do, but not in that first moment.
Oh, OK,
no.
sorry, what was it?
It's a bit rude to ask as well when someone says, even if it's not Tom Cruise, I'm looking to buy an extension lead, what's it for? What machine do you need to get nearer to you?
I definitely think the way you talk, David, it would be rude.
Basically, we were going out anyway because I needed to get a bottle warmer. And I don't know why. I think something came over me. I was like, do you fancy coming out with me to Argos?
So you end up in Argos with Tom Cruise.
Yes.
What did he think of the little pens?
He probably thought they were massive. Talk us through the bit when you asked Tom.
I'll be Tom. Hey, Sam! Really stoked about tonight. You know what I learned to do in the last 5 hours? Fly a helicopter. OK, what are we going to do?
That was a bit Al Pacino, then.
Yeah. It was a bit, wasn't it? It drifted into... What are we going to do tonight? I'm doing Al Pacino.
It's brilliant, actually.
Thank you, Samantha.
I wish I could do Ellen Barkin, but I can't.
Oh, Sea of Love.
Oh, my God.
Oh, this city, what it does to people. No.
I can't do Ellen Barkin, but I can do Lassie Barkin.
I was in Lassie.
You were in Lassie, the film?
Yeah. But I got into trouble with Lassie because they tell everyone no food on set. And I'd forgotten or whatever. And so I'd always be eating my sandwiches, and then Lassie would be doing a take, and then... it's like, what's going on? And anyway, in the end, they realised it was me and my sandwiches.
And then you took Lassie to Argos to buy a lead.
Bob, what do you think? Is Sam telling the truth?
I like it a lot.
You like it?
Yeah, it feels like this.
Well, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So Bob says it's true.
I think so.
And Sarah says it's...
It's believable.
OK, we'll say it's true.
You're going to say it's true? OK, Samantha, truth or lie?
It's a lie.
It was a lie. Les, you're next.
I like to keep my old fingernail clippings so I can use them later on.
Oh.
David's team.
What do you use them for later on?
Well, if I've had a sandwich...
Oh.
And I've forgotten to get hold of a toothpick...
No! So you keep your old fingernail clippings...
I kind of get... If I get a really good one that's got a nice hook in it...
Yeah.
Then I'll save it for later.
Oh.
Save it for later.
Oh, God.
As you cut your fingernails, you're thinking ahead for when you might next need to pick your teeth.
Yeah.
But you don't think another way of thinking ahead would just be to have some toothpicks with you all the time.
But the thing about toothpicks is they don't quite get in, do they? They kind of...
Les, are you single at the moment?
No, I'm married for the third time.
Oh!
Yeah, he's already told you twice.
Does your third third wife know about this?
She does, and she does the same reaction as you lot do.
What do you think your fourth wife's going to think about it?
So what about Floss?
How does she feel about it? All right, Richard, what are you thinking of this?
I'm appalled. It's
What about you, Lou?
I'm hoping it's a lie.
Yeah, we're all hoping it's a lie.
The thing is, if Les doesn't do it,
Yeah.
someone had to make it up.
Yeah.
And I almost think that's sort of equally unlikely that someone in their job in television thought, I tell you what I'll get Les Dennis to say on TV. That he cuts his fingernails and uses it to pick his teeth.
Somebody-
And I think that's almost as perverted as actually doing it.
What are you going to say? Truth or lie?
We're going to go lie.
Yeah, OK,
We'll
you're
go
saying
lie.
it's a lie. So, Les, it was a controversial one. Everybody's on tenterhooks.
Yeah.
Truth or lie?
It is, and I promise not to do it anymore now.
Sure. Would you please reveal your true identity?
I'm Sean, and Raj used to whip my shirt off for money.
Yes, Sean is Raj's bare-chested buddy, and we can now see the trick. So, you're going to need to wear masks for this, please. Sean, you take a position there in the chair, and then over to you, Raj.
Well, I would simply get Sean out as my stooge. We'd act as if we didn't know each other. I'd say, good evening, how are you? And I would undo his wrist button, and then I would undo this button, and then, as you can see, I'd undo this button. And then, all I'd say is, on the count of three, we'd say some magic words. And tonight, they are, would I lie to you? So on the count of three, 1, 2, 3.
Would I lie to you?
Oh, hang on. What's happened? I've nearly killed him.
It's the greatest thing that's ever happened on this show.
Is Sean all right?
Who cares? He's fine.
I love the idea that you had to put masks on for safety reasons. And it almost took his head off.
Well, that's all we've time for on this special edition of Would I Lie to You. Thanks very much for watching. Good night.